This is my true story. At his wealthy family's formal dinner, his mother raised her wine glass and called me the outsider who married in for money. 20 people stared at me. My husband said nothing. Later that night, I found his sister's phone in the bathroom. There was a group chat with his entire family. They were plotting to replace me with another woman, someone from their social class. When I confronted my husband with screenshots, he did not deny it. He whispered 3 words that made my blood freeze. "It's already begun. Before I tell you what I did next, tell me where you are watching from and subscribe." My husband came from a very wealthy family. Old money. The kind of wealth that came with expectations and traditions and rules about who belonged in their social circle. His family lived in a massive estate outside the city, a mansion with staff and expensive art and furniture that cost more than most people's houses. I came from a middle-class background. My parents were teachers. I worked my way through college. I had a good job and made decent money, but nothing compared to his family's wealth. From the moment we started dating, his family made it clear I was not good enough for them. Not wealthy enough. Not connected enough. Not from the right background. But my husband said he loved me. Said he did not care what his family thought. Said we would prove them wrong. So I married him 3 years ago, despite his family's disapproval. And for 3 years, I tried everything to fit in. To make them accept me. To prove I was worthy of being part of their family. Tonight was another one of their formal family dinners. They had these dinners once a month. Everyone dressed up. Multiple courses, expensive wine, staff serving the food. I always felt out of place at these dinners, but I went because my husband said it was important. I wore a dress his mother suggested I buy. It cost more than my monthly car payment. I practiced which fork to use for which course. I tried to laugh at their jokes even when I did not understand them. His family had a way of talking that excluded me. They would reference people I never met, places I never been, inside jokes from before I was part of the family. They did it on purpose. I knew they did. To remind me I was an outsider. To make me feel like I would never truly belong. We were halfway through dinner when his mother stood up. She raised her wine glass like she was making a toast. Everyone got quiet and turned to look at her. She smiled and said she wanted to toast to family. To real family, not outsiders who marry in for money. Then she looked directly at me. Every single person at that table turned to stare at me. His mother was openly calling me a gold digger in front of everyone, accusing me of marrying her son for his money. I felt my face get hot with embarrassment and anger. I looked at my husband, waiting for him to defend me, waiting for him to tell his mother that was inappropriate and cruel. But he just kept eating his steak, did not look up, did not say a word. His father cleared his throat like he was uncomfortable, but said nothing. His sister was smirking into her napkin, trying not to laugh. His aunts and uncles and cousins all just sat there in awkward silence. Not one person defended me. Not one person told his mother she crossed a line. They just let her humiliate me. Let her call me a gold digger to my face. And my husband sat there like nothing happened. Like his mother did not just publicly insult his wife. I put down my fork, excused myself to go to the bathroom, walked as calmly as I could even though I wanted to run. I locked myself in the bathroom and stared at my reflection in the mirror. My mascara was running from tears I was trying to hold back. I felt humiliated and angry and confused about why my husband did not defend me, why he never defended me against his family's cruelty. I grabbed some tissue and tried to fix my makeup. That was when I noticed a phone on the counter next to the sink. It was not mine. I picked it up and saw it was unlocked. The screen was lit up with notifications. I should not have looked. I knew it was wrong to look at someone else's phone, but I saw my name in one of the notification previews. It was a message in a group chat. The preview said something about me and a timeline. My hands started shaking as I opened the phone. The group chat was titled, "The Problem." I felt sick seeing that. I was the problem they were discussing. I scrolled up to see earlier messages, and what I found made my whole world tilt sideways. There were dozens of messages, maybe hundreds, going back months, all from his family members, his mother, his father, his sister, his aunts and uncles, even his cousins. All of them talking about me, all of them discussing how to get rid of me. I started reading the messages from the beginning. His mother wrote that I signed the prenup, but they needed me gone before the 3-year mark. She said at 3 years, the prenup becomes contestable under state law, that I would be entitled to more money if we divorced after 3 years. Our third anniversary was in 2 months. His father responded, saying the new girl was perfect, the right family, the right connections, already vetted by them. New girl. They were talking about replacing me, finding someone else for my husband to be with, someone from their social class. His sister wrote that my husband needed to start being seen in public with this new woman, that they needed to plant the narrative that he was having an affair. That way, when the divorce happened, people would blame me, or at least understand why it did not work out. They had a whole strategy planned out, a timeline, steps they were following to end my marriage and replace me with someone they approved of. I kept scrolling and found photos, pictures of a woman I did not recognize. She was blonde and polished and beautiful, wearing expensive clothes. The caption said this was the replacement. This was who they chose for my husband. There were messages about dinners my husband already had with this woman, dinners I did not know about, messages about how compatible they were, how she came from the right background, how their families were already friends. They were talking about her like she was already his girlfriend, like I was already gone. I took screenshots of everything with shaking hands, every message, every photo, every detail of their plan. I sent the screenshots to my own phone. Then I deleted the evidence that I had opened the messages and taken the photos. Put the phone back exactly where I found it. I needed to get out of this bathroom and act normal until I figured out what to do with this information. I washed my face and fixed my makeup as best as I could. Took deep breaths trying to calm myself down. I could not let them see that I knew, could not let them know I found their group chat and discovered their plan. I needed to act normal until I could figure out my next move. I walked back downstairs to the dining room. Everyone was eating dessert now. My husband looked up when I sat down, asked if I was okay. I smiled and said yes, said I just needed a moment. He squeezed my hand like he cared, like he was a concerned husband checking on his wife. But now I knew the truth. Now I knew this was all an act. He was pretending to love me while planning to replace me with someone else. His family was chatting and laughing like nothing happened earlier, like his mother did not just call me a gold digger, like they were not all conspiring behind my back to end my marriage. I ate my dessert and smiled and nodded at their conversations, played the role of the polite wife, even though inside I was screaming, even though every cell in my body wanted to stand up and confront all of them right there. But I did not. I stayed calm, stayed quiet. Finished my dessert and thanked his mother for the lovely dinner. My voice did not shake. My hands did not tremble. I was proud of myself for holding it together. We said our goodbyes and walked to the car. My husband made small talk on the drive home. Talked about work and weekend plans like this was a normal evening, like his family had not just humiliated me, like I did not just discover he was cheating on me with someone his family pre-approved. I responded when I needed to, but kept my answers short. He did not seem to notice anything was wrong. Did not notice I was quieter than usual. We got home and I went straight upstairs to our bedroom. He followed a few minutes later. Started getting ready for bed, taking off his suit, loosening his tie, acting completely normal. I pulled out my phone, looked at the screenshots I took, made sure they were all there, made sure the evidence was clear and readable. Then I made a decision. I was going to confront him. Right now. Tonight. I was not going to wait or plan or think about it more. I needed to see his face when I showed him that I knew. Needed to hear what he would say. I walked over to where he was standing, held up my phone without saying a word, showed him the first screenshot. The message from his mother about the prenup and the 3-year mark. His eyes focused on the screen. I watched his face carefully, waiting for his reaction. Waiting for him to deny it, or get angry, or try to explain it away. But his face did not show surprise. Did not show panic. He just looked at the screenshot calmly. Almost like he was relieved. He took off his tie and set it down on the dresser. Looked at me with something that might have been pity in his eyes. Then he said 3 words that made my blood turn cold. He said it's already begun. Not a question. Not a denial. just a simple statement of fact. It's already begun. Like I was late to finding out about something that was already in motion. Like the plan was already happening, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I asked him what he meant. My voice came out shaky even though I tried to sound strong. He sat down on the edge of our bed, loosened his collar, looked at me with this eerie calmness that scared me more than anger would have. He said he might as well tell me everything since I already found out. He said the marriage was always temporary in his family's eyes, that they never approved of me, that they expected him to marry someone from their social circle eventually. He said after he established himself in his career, he was supposed to trade up. Those were his actual words. Trade up. Like I was an old car he was replacing with a newer model. I stood there frozen, listening to him destroy our entire marriage with his words. He told me he had been seeing the other woman for 4 months. The blonde woman from the photos, the one his family chose for him. He said his parents arranged for them to meet, set up dinners and events where they would run into each other. He said everyone in his family knew about it. They all approved of her. They all thought she was a better match for him than I ever was. He said tonight's dinner was part of the plan. His mother's comment calling me an outsider who married for money was meant to push me, meant to make me angry enough to want to leave on my own. He said it would be easier for everyone if I just walked away. Asked for a divorce myself. That way, they would not have to work as hard to get rid of me. I asked him if he ever loved me, if any of our marriage was real. He thought about it for a moment. Then, he said he cared about me at first, but his family made it clear I was not a permanent choice, that he knew from the beginning this was temporary, that I was just a placeholder until he was ready to marry someone appropriate. I felt like I could not breathe. 3 years of marriage, 3 years of trying to fit into his family, 3 years of believing we were building a life together. All of it was a lie. All of it was temporary. He was just waiting for the right time to replace me. He kept talking, said the prenup I signed expires in 2 months when we hit our 3rd anniversary. After 3 years, I would be entitled to a significant portion of his assets in a divorce. His family wanted me gone before that happened. His mother wanted to push harder, make my life so miserable that I would leave voluntarily. But he said honestly, he was relieved I found out. Said pretending to be a loving husband was getting exhausting. He talked about our marriage like it was a business deal that ran its course. Talked about me like I was a contract being terminated, not a person whose life he was destroying. I stood there listening to him confess everything. Part of me was destroyed hearing the truth, hearing that our entire marriage was fake, that he never intended to stay with me, that his family orchestrated everything, including my replacement. But another part of me was thinking clearly, was planning, was making calculations. While he talked, I reached into my pocket, felt my phone there. The phone I had quietly started recording the moment we walked into the bedroom, the moment before I showed him the screenshots. I recorded everything, every word he said, every confession, every detail about the plan. I smiled at him through my tears. He looked confused by the smile. Probably thought I was losing my mind. I said thank you. Thank you for confirming everything? He asked what I meant. I pulled out my phone, showed him that it was recording, had been recording for the past 10 minutes, recorded his entire confession. His face changed. The calm mask fell away. Now he looked panicked. He asked what I was doing, why I recorded him. I said I needed proof, needed evidence of what he and his family were planning. I told him I already sent the audio file to my lawyer, along with all the screenshots from his family's group chat, sent them before I even confronted him tonight. My lawyer had everything, every message, every photo, every word of his confession. He stood up fast, asked how I could do this, started saying I was being crazy, that recording someone without permission was illegal. I told him actually in our state, it was perfectly legal to record conversations you were part of, that one-party consent was all that was needed, that everything he said was admissible. He started getting angry, said his family would destroy me in court, that they had the best lawyers money could buy, that I signed a prenup and would get nothing. I smiled again, told him that prenups obtained through fraud or false pretenses are void, that the group chat proved his family planned this marriage as temporary from the start, that they conspired to defraud me, that in our state conspiracy to defraud a spouse is not just grounds for voiding a prenup, but is actually a crime. I watched him process what I was saying, watched him realize I was not the naive woman his family thought I was, that I had been smart enough to gather evidence, smart enough to protect myself, smart enough to turn their plan against them. He asked what I wanted, said we could work something out, said his family would pay me to go away quietly. I told him it was too late for that my lawyer was already preparing to file for divorce, that we would be requesting everything I was entitled to under state law without the prenup, that we would be providing the evidence of fraud and conspiracy to the court, that his family's text messages would be part of the public record. He said I was destroying him, destroying his family. I said no. They destroyed themselves by treating me like I was disposable, by thinking they could use me and throw me away without consequences. I told him I was leaving. He asked where I would go. I said that was not his concern anymore. I had already packed a bag earlier that week and left it at my friend's house. Already made plans without him knowing. Already prepared for this moment. I walked to our closet and grabbed a few more things I needed. He followed me, asking me to wait, to think about this, to not do anything rash. I ignored him, kept packing. He said his family would fight this, would make my life hell, would drag me through court for years. I told him I was ready for that fight, that I had evidence and truth on my side, that they had lies and fraud and conspiracy. I walked out of that house and never went back. Stayed with my friend for a few days. Then my lawyer helped me rent an apartment in my name only, started building my new life away from him and his toxic family. My lawyer filed for divorce 3 days later, filed with the court all the evidence I gathered, the screenshots of the family group chat, the recording of my husband's confession, documentation of the other woman he was seeing, proof that the prenup was signed under false pretenses. His family hired expensive lawyers like he said they would, tried to argue the prenup was valid, tried to say I had no proof of fraud, tried to say the recording was inadmissible. But everything was legal, everything was documented, everything was proven. The group chat messages were especially damaging. His mother writing about getting me out before the 3-year mark, his father talking about vetting my replacement, his sister discussing the affair narrative, all of it time-stamped. All of it clearly showing premeditation and conspiracy. The judge was not sympathetic to their arguments. Said the evidence showed clear fraud and bad faith. Said the prenup was void. Said I was entitled to my share of assets as if the prenup never existed. His family tried to hide assets, tried to move money around, tried to make it look like they had less than they did. But my lawyer was good, found everything, tracked every account, every property, every investment. The divorce took 8 months to finalize. 8 months of legal battles and court dates and depositions. 8 months of his family trying every trick to avoid paying what I was owed. But in the end, I won. The court awarded me a significant settlement. Millions of dollars, half of everything we acquired during the marriage, plus compensation for the fraud, plus my legal fees paid by his family. His mother had to sit in court and listen as the judge read portions of her text messages out loud. Messages about getting rid of me. Messages about the replacement woman. Messages plotting and scheming. She looked humiliated. His father looked angry. His sister looked shocked that their private messages were now public record. My husband looked defeated. The man who said I was temporary, who said I was not good enough for his family, who spent 4 months cheating on me with someone they approved of. He lost everything he tried to protect. After the divorce was finalized, I started rebuilding my life. Used some of the settlement money to buy my own house. Not a mansion like his family's estate, but a beautiful home that was mine. Decorated it exactly how I wanted, without anyone telling me I was doing it wrong. Went back to school and finished a degree I had put on hold when I got married. My husband always said I did not need more education, that I should focus on being a good wife instead. But now I could do whatever I wanted. I reconnected with friends and family I had lost touch with over the years. His family had slowly isolated me from everyone who cared about me. Always had plans on holidays so I could not visit my parents. Always made comments about my friends not being sophisticated enough. I let them pull me away from my support system. But now I was rebuilding those relationships. My parents were so happy to have me back in their lives, said they never liked my husband or his family, but did not want to push me away by saying so. My friends welcomed me back without judgment, said they were just glad I finally saw the truth. I heard through mutual acquaintances what happened to my husband after the divorce. His family was furious with him, blamed him for getting caught, for confessing everything on recording, for being stupid enough to admit the truth. The other woman he was seeing broke up with him once the divorce became public and messy. She did not want to be associated with the scandal, did not want people knowing she was the other woman in a fraud case. His family's reputation took a hit in their social circles. People talked about the group chat messages that became part of public record, about how they plotted to defraud me, about how cold and calculating they were. Some people in their circles stopped inviting them to events, stopped doing business with them. My ex-husband had to move back in with his parents. The settlement took a significant portion of his assets. He could not afford his lifestyle anymore, could not afford his expensive apartment or his luxury car. I heard his mother blamed me for ruining the family, said I was vindictive and cruel for exposing them. Never took responsibility for her own actions. Never acknowledged that they brought this on themselves by treating me like I was disposable. I did not feel bad for any of them. They tried to use me and throw me away like trash. They thought I was too beneath them to fight back, too unsophisticated to understand what they were doing. They underestimated me, thought because I came from a middle-class background, I must not be smart or capable. But I was smart enough to gather evidence, capable enough to protect myself, strong enough to walk away and fight for what I deserved. 1 year after the divorce, I met someone new, someone kind and genuine who came from a normal family, who valued me for who I was not what I could provide, who never made me feel like I had to prove myself worthy. We took things slow. I was cautious after everything that happened, but he was patient and understanding. Looking back on everything that happened, I learned so many lessons about relationships and self-worth and red flags I should have noticed earlier. The warning signs were there from the beginning, but I ignored them because I was in love. Or what I thought was love. His family never accepted me from the start. They made comments about my background and my job and the way I dressed. They compared me to women from their social circle and made it clear I did not measure up. My husband always made excuses for them. Said they just needed time to get to know me. Said they were protective of their family. Said I was being too sensitive when their comments hurt my feelings. But now, I understand he was gaslighting me, making me doubt my own perceptions, making me think I was the problem when really his family was cruel and he was complicit in that cruelty. He slowly isolated me from my support system. Always had reasons why we could not visit my family, why I should not spend time with my friends, why I should focus on his family instead of mine. I thought he just wanted us to be close to his family, but really he was cutting me off from people who might have helped me see the truth, who might have told me to leave. The prenup should have been a bigger red flag. He said it was just standard for wealthy families, that it did not mean anything, that we were not going to get divorced anyway, so why did it matter? I signed it because I loved him and trusted him. But I should have had my own lawyer review it, should have understood what I was signing, should have protected myself better. His family's constant criticism should have told me something too. Nothing I did was ever good enough. I cooked dinner, and his mother said the seasoning was wrong. I decorated our home, and his sister said my taste was tacky. I got a promotion at work, and his father said my job was not impressive. They were systematically breaking down my confidence, making me feel worthless, so that when they decided it was time to get rid of me, I would believe I deserved it. But the biggest lesson I learned was about standing up for yourself, about gathering evidence when something feels wrong, about trusting your instincts even when people tell you you are crazy. I knew something was wrong in my marriage for months before I found that group chat. I felt the distance, felt him pulling away, noticed the late nights and the secretive phone calls, but I convinced myself I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that I should trust my husband. My instincts were right all along. I should have trusted them sooner, should have investigated sooner, should have protected myself sooner, but I was scared of what I might find. Scared of my marriage ending, scared of being alone. So I ignored the warning signs until I could not ignore them anymore. Now I know better. Now I know that being alone is better than being with someone who does not value you. That ending a bad marriage is not failure, it is strength. That protecting yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. About 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into his mother at a charity event. I almost did not go because I knew she might be there. But I decided I was not going to hide or avoid places because of her. I had every right to be there. She saw me across the room and her face went cold. She walked over to me with anger in her eyes, asked how I dared to show my face in public after what I did to her family. I stayed calm, told her I did nothing to her family, that they did everything to themselves. She said I was a gold digger who destroyed her son's life, that I took money I did not earn, that I manipulated the courts with lies. I reminded her that everything was proven in court, that the judge saw the evidence, saw the group chat messages, heard the recording, that there was no manipulation, only truth. She said I should have left quietly when they gave me the chance, that I was ungrateful for the life they provided me. I told her I was grateful for nothing, that they treated me like garbage for 3 years, that they planned to steal from me and throw me away, that they got exactly what they deserved. She raised her voice, said I was nothing before her son married me, that I came from nothing and would go back to nothing. Other people at the event were starting to stare at us. I smiled at her, told her I was doing better than ever. Had my own house, my own career, my own life. While her son was living in her basement because he could not afford his own place anymore. Her face turned red. She said that was my fault, that I took everything from him. I said no. He took everything from himself when he decided to commit fraud, when he decided to cheat, when he decided I was disposable. She looked like she wanted to slap me. Her hand actually raised slightly, but she controlled herself, probably because we were in public and people were watching. She said I would regret this, that karma would come for me, that I would end up alone and miserable. I told her I was already happy, happier than I ever was in her son's family, that leaving was the best decision I ever made. She walked away without another word. I watched her leave and felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no fear, just nothing. She had no power over me anymore. None of them did. Later that week, I heard from a friend that his mother was telling people at the event that I attacked her, that I was verbally abusive and threatening, trying to make herself the victim. But multiple people saw the whole interaction, saw her approach me, saw her yelling while I stayed calm. Her lies did not work. People knew the truth. The court case was public record. Anyone could read the evidence, could see the group chat messages, could see what his family really did. 2 years after the divorce, I was living my best life. I had everything his family said I would never have without them. A successful career, a beautiful home, real friends, a loving partner, financial security that I earned myself. I thought about that dinner sometimes, the one where his mother called me an outsider, where she toasted to real family while looking at me with contempt, where 20 people watched her humiliate me and said nothing. I remembered how small I felt in that moment, how worthless, how I went to the bathroom and cried, thinking something was wrong with me. But nothing was wrong with me. Everything was wrong with them. They were cruel people who thought money and social status gave them the right to treat others badly. They thought they could use me and discard me without consequences. They were wrong. Finding that group chat was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I had not found his sister's phone in the bathroom, I might have stayed longer, might have missed the 3-year mark and lost my legal protections, might have signed whatever papers they put in front of me during the divorce. They would have gotten away with it. But I found out. And I was smart enough to document everything. Smart enough to record the confession. Smart enough to fight back. His family learned an expensive lesson about underestimating people, about treating people like they are beneath you, about assuming someone will not fight back because they come from less money. The settlement I won was more than I ever made in my career, more than I ever expected to have. But it was not about the money. It was about justice, about making them face consequences for their actions, about proving that I mattered, that I was not disposable. My ex-husband tried to contact me a few times over the years, sent emails apologizing, said he made mistakes, said he wished things ended differently. I never responded. There was nothing to say. He showed me exactly who he was, a man who valued money and status over love, a man who let his family control his life, a man who thought it was acceptable to use someone and throw them away. I had no interest in forgiving him or being friends or having any relationship with him. He was part of my past, a painful chapter that was closed. I met my current partner at a community volunteer event. He was helping build homes for families in need, getting his hands dirty, working alongside people from all backgrounds. He came from a normal middle-class family like mine. His parents were warm and welcoming, treated me with kindness from day one, never made me feel like I had to prove myself worthy. When I told him about my previous marriage, he was horrified, could not believe a family would treat someone that way, could not understand how someone could plan to defraud their spouse. He said I deserved so much better, and he was right. I did deserve better. And now I had it, a real partnership with someone who valued me,